Welcome to Rewind, Rewatch. I'm Andrene.
And I'm Joel.
And we're siblings, and what we do here is we talk about 90s movies after we rewatch them, and then we basically talk about any themes, any quotes that we like, and then we will rate it at the end of the episode, giving it a rewind rating of 1, meaning that the movie sucks, or all the way up to 5, meaning it's a remarkable movie, and we suggest you watch it over and over and over again.
We should talk a little bit about the rewind rating, because I feel like it is generally like, oh, if a movie sucks, it's a 1. If it's great, it's a 5. But I also think about, like, if we're calling it the rewind rating, I think it's more so about the rewatch value, right? Like,
Right.
I think about, like, when we did Sixth Sense, right? And we talked about, like, it's a good movie,
Yeah.
but the rewind value is actually not that great because the surprise ending kind of is the point.
Right.
So I do feel like it is a little bit more than just if the movie sucks. Like, I think it's more so about, like, how rewatchable it is.
Right, but if it sucks, I don't want to watch it again.
That's true. Yes,
Like,
true.
that's why I'm
But
like-
I'm just saying it's not a 1-to-1. It's not the same thing.
Right. But also, if it's a 5, if it's on, I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch it. Like, there's certain movies that if it comes on, I'm going to stop and be like, oh, this is on, I'm watching
Because it has high rewatch value.
Right. Rewatch. Yeah, exactly. But in the middle, it gets kind of muddled. And,
Yeah,
it
can get tricky.
Yeah. So today we are talking about 1991's My Girl. This is a PG rating, and it's 1 hour and 42 minutes. These movies have all been really long lately, I feel like. And a lot of 2-hour movies in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
I have a question about this movie, and maybe we'll get into this as we discuss the film, but...
Well, before we do all that, I just want to say it's episode 30.
Hey! Big 3-0.
Big 3-0 already. So, it's a full-grown adult at this point.
Yeah.
And
the podcast is
it's a full-grown adult.
It's not 30 years old. It's just been 30 episodes.
30 weeks.
It's 30 weeks
30 weeks old.
Yeah.
And this has been requested by Chris. I just want to give a shout out to Chris before we get into...
Shout out to Chris.
All right, now, Joel, what were you going to ask?
So, well, I can do the one sentence first,
okay.
And then maybe that will lead into my question. So, as we often do with each episode, we give a one-sentence summary that says, what is this film about in one sentence? So, I would say My Girl is an 11-year-old girl who struggles with the concept of loss, is forced to come to grips with changes in her family life.
Yeah.
I mean,
she really is the main character of this film. So the main character... Well, do you want me to talk about who's in it, or do you want to ask your question first?
We can talk about who's in it first.
Okay. So Vada, who is the main girl that we're talking about, is played by Anna Chlumsky. And I know her from watching Veep.
Yes.
She played Amy.
That's probably her biggest role other than this film.
Yeah. From 2012 to 2019, she was like one of the staffers, basically, for the vice president. That show's hilarious. And her character is just...
She earned 6 Emmy nominations for that.
I mean, it's
show,
fantastic.
So,
it's fantastic.
I think that's so where most people probably remember her.
Yeah. And then, of course, she was in My Girl 2 in 1994. And I don't know if you know this, but she was an extra in Uncle Buck in 1989.
I did not know that, but that is a very funny movie. That's a movie that I had heard about, like, for years before I really watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, oh, yeah, like, John Candy, Macaulay Culkin. It's like, all right, I'll watch it eventually. And I was actually surprised by how good it is. We will not be covering it because, unfortunately, it comes out in 1989.
Yeah.
But if you're ever in the mood for some classic late 80s hijinks and a little bit of John Candy, then, check out Uncle Buck.
Yeah, it's a great movie. So
Speaking of
Uncle Buck, yeah.
Speaking of Uncle Buck.
We have Macaulay Culkin, who plays Thomas Sennett. And Thomas
J.
is basically, the best friend of Vada in this movie. And, of course, Macaulay Culkin, Joel mentioned, was in Uncle Buck in 89. He did Home Alone in 90, Home Alone 2 in 92, The Good Son in 93, Richie Rich in 94.
Now he was killing.
Yes.
He was killing. He was hanging out with Michael Jackson.
He was, which was also very bizarre.
They were like BFFs. But nah, Macaulay Culkin, I feel like he was doing like Pepsi ads.
Oh yeah.
Like he was like a big deal as like a 10-year-old boy.
He was exactly like coming down to even this film. They were actually considering doing Elijah Woods for the part of
Wood. No S.
Oh, yeah, Elijah Wood. Why did I say Woods?
Bilbo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My main man Bilbo.
Bilbo Baggins. Yeah, they want to do Elijah Wood, but because of the success of Home Alone, they were like, nah, like Culkin can get more people in the seats. We'll get more money off of him. So they ended up casting him. So
this movie's right in between Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2.
Right.
And the interesting thing is he plays a very different character.
Yes.
In this movie compared to Home Alone. Like Home Alone, he is just like the man. Like he
smart
has
aleck.
So much attitude, so much personality.
Ma'am, I'm 8 years old. You think I would be here alone? I don't think so.
And this kid is kind of like just an unassuming little tag-along friend. He's kind of like the forgotten child of the neighborhood. He doesn't really have any friends outside of Vada.
He's very sheltered.
He's definitely sheltered. And it's interesting just like seeing him have this so much range at such a young age because he's playing two very different characters. And you would have thought, especially after Home Alone, that's surprising because I feel like people would have just put him in a bunch of Kevin McAllister type of roles. But this is like the opposite, like I said, and he still gets cast. So that worked.
He did a great job. And then we have Dan Aykroyd plays Vada's dad, Harry Sultenfuss. And Dan Aykroyd, I mean...
Blues Brothers.
I mean, yeah. That's the first thing that comes up. 1980.
He's one of the Ghostbusters too, right?
Yep. So he did Ghostbusters 84, Ghostbusters 2, 89. Then there was Coneheads 93, Blues Brothers 2000, 98, Ghostbusters again 2016, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2021, and then Ghostbusters from Frozen Empire 2024. It's a lot of Ghostbusters.
It's way too many Ghostbusters. He's also in Trading Places.
Yes, 83.
And apparently, I didn't even know this. I'm looking it up now. He got an Oscar nomination for his role in Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
I don't even remember him being in that movie, but I also haven't seen that movie.
I believe that he was Miss Daisy's son.
Ah, okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe that's who he was in that film. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
I like Dan Aykroyd.
But yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff.
And he's Canadian.
And then, last but not least, we have Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Shelley DeVoto. And Shelley is a makeup artist who gets a job. We'll talk about her a little bit more. But Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, she's basically the Scream Queen. Like, that's how I know her. Like, Halloween is like her empire.
Yeah. When you think of Jamie Lee Curtis, you think of Halloween movies. At least I do.
Yeah.
I actually don't even think of anything else.
Well, apart from the Halloweens, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's like 13 of them.
Right.
She also was in Prom Night in 1980. She also appeared in Trading Places. So you have a connection there too with her and Dan Aykroyd being in Trading Places, and then Macaulay Culkin and
Anna Chlumsky were both
being in
Uncle Buck.
Right. So that's kind of interesting. And then of course she also was in Freaky Friday and True Lies, which is a hilarious movie in my opinion.
It's not a comedy,
but it's still hilarious.
There's a good bit, and Knives Out. That was interesting.
Yeah, movie. That was a good one.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I mean, she's been in so many things. I was like, I'm not gonna name everything. Yeah. She's just, she's Jamie Lee Curtis.
So my question about My Girl, just to start us off, and I guess as we start to talk about the plot, the title. Why do you think it's called My Girl?
Can we please talk about the title? So there were other titles that had been floating around for this movie because they weren't sure what to call it. The initial title was Born Jaundiced.
That's not gonna work. That doesn't work as a movie title. It doesn't work as a book title. It doesn't work as a song title. Born jaundiced doesn't roll off the tongue.
Well, and the reason why that was the title was because like her very first lines, I believe she says like, "I was born jaundiced," and like she starts talking about all these different impairments that she allegedly has.
Oh no, I understand.
Yeah. So just to explain, so she's one of these people that we used to say that she's like hypochondriac. The term has since been changed. So the DSM, which is basically like the mental health handbook that professional care like providers use in the medical field, has since changed the term from hypochondria to basically health anxiety disorder, because that's essentially what it is. Like you have anxiety that your health is being affected and you have all these conditions. So she has this condition, and basically like we see her going to the doctor almost on a daily basis. She shows up, and then like the nurse is like, "Hey Vada, what's wrong today?"
Yeah.
And she goes to the doctor complaining about, she had hemorrhoids. At one point, she thinks there's something wrong with her prostate, which doesn't make any sense because she's a woman and does not have a prostate.
Well, the whole point of this, of course, is the fact that her father's an undertaker, and he owns a funeral parlor that they live in.
Yeah.
So she is surrounded by death. Her mother died, presumably either giving birth to her or when she was very young. So she has no memory of her mother.
I believe it was 2 days after, they said.
Oh, okay.
2 days after she died.
I might have missed that detail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she doesn't remember her mother. Her mother died. She's in a house that's constantly surrounded by dead bodies. She has conversations with her dad while he's working on the bodies behind a wall because apparently he's told her not to turn around to look.
Yeah.
And grandma also lives with them, and grandma is basically senile. So death's knocking on her door, too.
Ugh.
So all of this, I think, I mean, like, one way of looking at it is obviously she might have, like, some sort of disorder. But I kind of read it more as, like, the paranoia of death and her being so young that she doesn't really, like, fully understand how to grapple with it yet.
Yeah.
But it's been present since she was a child.
It has been present, but also her father does not do a very good job of talking to her about it. It's almost like the mom died and he kind of just like sweeps it under the rug, like, all right, that happens, and like, let's not talk about it, because it's still something that I think affects her, but until...
And him, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
He hasn't come to terms with it on his own either, because even there's parts in the film where he's talking about, or his brother was talking about, like, yo, your dad used to be mad funny. He used to always make me laugh. And
she's
now
like,
he doesn't tell jokes anymore, and now he's mad serious. So his wife dying also did a number on him. And I think that's why he doesn't know how to come to terms with it for his daughter, because he hasn't even come to terms with it for himself yet.
Yeah, it's like death is just kind of like a job for him, but he doesn't really think of anything past that, because even later on when, Vada has to deal with the death of her best friend, it's basically Shelley's character who tells him like, you need to talk to her about this. You can't just ignore it. And he's like, oh, she doesn't want to be bothered. Like, she'll get over it. And it's like, bro, she's 11. Like,
yeah,
do something, parent her. But going back to the title, so Born Jaundiced, as you know, is terrible. And so other titles were floated, such as Morning Glory, but like mourn as in like to
Morning
weep.
Glory,
Morning, right. In lieu of flowers. Dearly Departed, and Vada.
I like that.
Yeah, and Vada, just like her name.
I like that too.
Yeah, but they chose My Girl. That was the winning title. And of course, it's like a reference to like the Temptation song, My Girl.
Because doesn't she sing it at one point with her dad's partner, or were they singing something else?
With her dad's partner?
Remember when her dad was working on a body in the basement, and then she comes around the corners talking to them, and then they start like singing some song together?
I don't know. I know she always sings. I know she always sings "Do Diddy Diddy Dum Diddy Do."
Yeah,
that's like her trigger song. Like whenever she feels like she can't take something, she starts singing that song. It puts her fingers in her ear, and that's kind of like the way that she soothes herself, her self-soothing behavior. But My Girl, I mean, so when I first started watching this, I don't know why, I just couldn't really remember like what was gonna happen, and I was like, is it about like Macaulay Culkin's character? Like he sees her as like his girl, like his best friend, but it's not really about him at all. So it's like,
I mean, you know what I mean? He's a big part of the film, but it's definitely not about him.
Right. So it's like when you say My Girl, like whose girl? Who's the my?
Her dad, Harry.
I guess. I just feel like I was a little bit lost. Like I was like,
I mean, that's kind of why I asked the
I
question.
don't really care for this title.
I feel like the title is kind of out of place. Like,
yeah.
I feel like just naming the movie Vada would have made more sense.
Yes, I liked that too. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but they loved it, so that's what they did.
So we talked a little bit about Vada. We talked about her dad a bit, who's like kind of this serious figure. And then we're introduced to Shelley, who shows up responding to a newspaper ad for a makeup artist.
Oh yeah, she was fun.
And she thinks she's going to be coming to a beauty parlor, but it ends up being a funeral
parlor. Yeah.
And she says, hey, what the hell? I actually need the job. So,
but what's funny about Shelley is when she does her first, I guess, corpse.
First corpse?
Her first client. She's getting ready to prepare them for the...
Push me to the edge. All my clients are dead.
She's trying to prepare them for the viewing. And so Shelley goes to show Harry the finished product. And he looks at the person and he's like, that looks nothing like her. It's an older woman. And she puts like blue eyeshadow on.
She loves blue eyeshadow.
Oh my gosh. That's number one rule of makeup.
The first rule in applying eye makeup is you can never wear enough blue eyeshadow.
You can never wear too much blue eyeshadow.
Apparently.
Which is completely false.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I should speak, but
it's completely false.
I don't think I agree with that, Shelley.
That's not what it is. But I mean, like her face was beat to the gods, and it's like, bro, this is a viewing. That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
She's like, yo, but she looks good. He's like, but that's not how she looked when she was alive.
She even did her hair up.
Yeah, he's like, that wasn't her hairstyle. And she's like, oh, well, her hair looked mad old school. She's like, she was old school.
This is the picture. And then she's like, oh, all right. So she has to figure out like exactly how to do the job.
Yeah.
And she figures it out eventually. But she quickly realizes that Vada like has no mother figure and really not even really a father figure, if we're being honest. She kind of just does her own thing. And she's basically there when Vada gets her first period. Mm-hmm. And
which is a good thing because
she didn't know what it was.
Could you imagine if she wasn't there and it was her dad instead? How he would have handled that?
He'd have been a bumbling idiot.
First, it would have been terrible.
But I also feel like I felt some type of way about it. So on the one hand, it's like, yes, let her know about her period, get her the sanitary things that she needs to take care of herself. But then it's like she gives her the sex talk. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, shouldn't her father be doing that? Or shouldn't I at least tell her father I'm going to be doing that?
Yeah.
It felt a little...
Well, this movie is also set in the late 60s, right?
No, it's in the early 70s.
Early 70s.
72.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't around in the early 70s, but I imagine there probably wasn't a lot of father-daughter sex talks. Well, maybe. This is after the sexual revolution, but I don't know if that...
I mean, Harry probably would have been comfortable.
I don't know if Harry Sultenfuss got swept into the sexual revolution. Speaking of which, I noticed that Vada has a poster of Hair the Musical on her wall.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I'm pretty sure she didn't see this musical because it's probably a little bit too mature for an 11-year-old girl. But yeah, there's also references to like Nixon getting reelected.
Yeah, at the end of the movie. Yeah.
There's posters of like Nixon Agnew on like the storefronts and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of like explanation of setting in terms of timeline, but it's not like it doesn't feel like
it's
a
not in
70s
your face.
film per se.
Yeah.
You meet the couple of hippies in the poetry class.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah, right. So like that was kind of like, all right. I mean, I guess I get why she did it, and I'm happy she was able to help her. But it was also like she was like, my parents did that? Disgusting.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, all right, so you could say, should her dad be having this conversation? I think that's a legitimate question. But I also think about if you have your period, isn't that like the perfect time? Because then it's like, yo, like this is what happens after this. Like you're now entering womanhood. You can now become pregnant. Yeah. Like how do people? You got to be careful because then it's like, oh, you're just gonna bleed once a month. Well, why?
Why?
Then you kind of have to explain the whole thing, and sex is definitely a part of that. So
yeah,
I understood it, but I also understand why she might have been overstepping her bounds a little bit.
A smidge.
If I know Harry, he probably was thankful that he didn't have to have the conversation.
That's very true. I kind of want to take a note here about just Vada in general. Like, her knowledge, she seems to be like very wise beyond her years in everything else. Because even when she, so we know she has a crush on her teacher, Mr. Bixler, right? And during the summer, she and Thomas J are riding their bikes around, and they go to Mr. Bixler's house, and he's outside like doing some work on his roof. And she's talking to him about like what she's doing over the summer, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm about to go home and read War and Peace." And he's like, "Vada, like, enjoy your summer. What are you doing?"
Yeah, she said she finished the summer reading list in like the first week of summer.
Yeah, so she's an avid reader, and she wants to write as an adult. And so she learns that Mr. Bixler has this creative writing class for adults, and she's like, $35, like, bet if I get the money, I'm taking the class. Which is like, what 11-year-old is like? I mean, again, there are people like this. Like,
There are.
I was definitely a nerd, and I loved to read all summer, so that was definitely me. But I'm also not. I wasn't reading War and Peace at 11.
I'm not reading War and Peace now.
So she has that on me for sure. I was like, okay, Vada, I see you. But it was very clear from the very time she meets this guy, she's talking to him, and I'm like, oh, she got to break a crush on him. And she goes home, and you see her opening up her school yearbook, and you see a picture of the class picture, and she has a big old heart around his face. And in the picture, her face is turned, and she's staring at her teacher in the photo. And I'm like, oh, it's the first crush. And I was going to ask you, like, do you remember having any crush, like, on any of your teachers when you were a kid?
I didn't really have any teachers that I would have had a crush on. A lot of them were significantly older than me. The only like attractive teachers I can remember, or teachers that I had crushes on, was probably like the substitutes. There were a few hot subs. I remember there was a
you sound like Firehouse subs. Like.
yeah, there was a few hot and cold subs. There was some hot subs in middle school. I remember all the guys fawning over, and they were like
Spanish teacher?
This one woman who was like 25 years old or something.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then I can't think of like too many others. Especially not at that level. The only teacher I remember actually having a crush on was probably when I was in like graduate school. One of my teachers was young, and she was pretty cute. And it was like me and a bunch of other boys were just like, yo, this teacher. And then she would just kind of like just roll her eyes at us.
Right. I mean, graduate, like, you're old enough.
No, yeah, we were all adults at that point.
Yeah, like, you're old enough to actually talk to her.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I had any either. I think in high school there was like a hot chem teacher. Because, like, I remember taking this class.
Mr. Yang?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about Mr. Yang. That's the only reason I know his name.
Yeah. All the girls were just like, yeah, that he was fine. And, like, I did not like chemistry at all, but I never missed a class.
I never missed a class.
I didn't. So basically, like...
Do you think Mr. Bixler knows? Like, he probably could tell. Or maybe he's not even paying attention. Like,
I feel like it's not even on his radar until the girlfriend is at the house and walks out, and Vada realizes that he has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he says to her, like, you're about to get married. And then Vada, like, loses it. Because, at this point, it's like...
It was loss on top of loss, because this is during Thomas J's funeral.
And not only that, so I want to back up a little bit. When she finally does get into this adult writing class because she steals money from Shelley. She finds out Shelley's hiding her money in her cookie jar, which is like a very very 90s thing to do.
70s.
Oh, well, yeah. She steals the money out. She pays for the course. She starts going to class. And as she writes her poem, Mr. Bixler points out to her that, like, what she's doing, it's like, yeah, it's cute, and it rhymes.
Yeah, but she has a poem about, like, ice cream. I like eating ice cream. It's so nice.
Yeah. And
he's like, yeah, but that's not what poetry's supposed to be about.
Right. So he's basically saying that, like, he wants it to express what's in her soul. And, like, I'm 11. I don't even know what that means, really. And so he says to her, talk about, like, your innermost secret. And she says in her head that she's afraid that she had killed her mother. Mm-hmm. And then also talk about your desires. And so I think eventually she ends up telling him that she loves him. She's like, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was like her inner desire at that moment was like, I care for this teacher. And so, I mean, just her telling him at 11, I was like, bro, this girl is very brave.
Right.
Because, like, there's no way at 11 I'm revealing to a crush who was my age,
Yeah.
moreover, a grown man,
Yeah.
that, like, yeah, I had feelings for you. I'm like, yo, this girl is emotionally mature because
Vada was swagged out.
Because I could never do that. And then even, like, to write a poem about the Weeping Willow and read it in front of the class, it was just like, you know, she got a lot of gumption.
Nah, she was definitely, you could tell that she was comfortable in adult spaces.
For sure.
And I wonder how much that also has to do with the fact that she lives in a funeral parlor where she's probably surrounded by people older than her all the time.
Exactly.
And on top of that, we know that she doesn't have a lot of friends her age other than Thomas J. Because there's a portion of the movie where a bunch of the other girls see them hanging out and they're all making fun of them. Oh, Vada and Thomas are, you know, sitting in the tree, Kissing.
Yeah.
And, you know, Thomas is such a loser and why do you hang out with him? So it's also the sense of like, well, I don't have friends my age and I'm always around these other people that are much older than me. And so I think that also gives her like a little bit more of an advanced vocabulary and just the way that she carries herself.
I was thinking about that. Like the fact that she's around her father and her father's, you know, coworker essentially all the time. They're grown men. She's hearing their conversations. And they also don't talk down to her, which I think is very important. Like, you know, you can read stats that say that like parents who like read to their kids, the kids end up developing a faster vocabulary than other kids who don't get read to, because of course they're able to learn things. And if you talk to your kid as a real person and not goo goo gaga, then your kids, you know, it's like, why are you laughing?
Not goo goo gaga.
Yeah, you know, people get in front of kids, they like to put that baby talk on and yeah. And it's like that's not helping anyone. So yeah, talking to kids like they're actual people is going to help them develop at an earlier age.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I think some of the way that her dad handled his relationship and conversation with her was sometimes like too mature, right? Like I think, yes, he treated her like another adult, but also he didn't do a good enough job of actually like taking care of her emotional development.
Oh, yeah.
So then it's also like, yes, you're talking to her like she's grown, but then also you still have to treat her like an 11-year-old. And that was the piece that he didn't do. Yeah,
that part was definitely missing for her. So now so after Harry ends up hiring Shelley, and they start working together for a while, you can see that Shelley is definitely interested in him. And she's like throwing him like these hints, like, oh, you know, there's this drive-in movie theater that's nearby, and she's like, I just love a drive-in movie theater. I just find them so romantic.
He's like, all right.
And he's kind of like,
I'm working on an obituary. Yeah. Like, this has nothing to do with this. Why are you telling me this?
And he
picks it up though.
He does eventually, but he kind of like at first he kind of curves her. He's kind of like, oh, okay, and then he's like, oh, well, you know, my church has bingo. Maybe we can go sometime. And she's like, yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So I always wondered this, like, why is it that some churches have bingo? Like, what is that about?
I don't really know. I'm also wondering, I mean, I don't have the answer to that. I think it's also like, well, my answer would be that they're probably just trying to have some sort of social event that isn't like real gambling, where it's not like, you're not going to have poker night at the church. So you're just like doing something that gets people in the room together for them to like, it's, you know, it's low maintenance.
Right. But you win money, don't you? When you hit bingo?
Maybe they give like prizes.
Oh.
Or they can be
I
money.
thought you won money because I'm thinking like, where does the money come from? Like,
yeah, I don't know if they're giving away money at a church bingo night. Maybe if it's a community center, they might give away money.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I think my bigger question was just like, why is that
the date?
The date. Like, because it's not even just, oh, we're going to go play bingo, which, I mean, I guess that could be fun. But it's also like a senior bingo night.
Yeah.
Everybody there is over 70, except for Harry and Shelley. So it's like, why did you bring this woman here to be surrounded by old people in a church tent playing bingo?
And
She
even makes it a point to say, like, I feel like I'm gonna be like, you know, doing makeup for some of these people very soon.
Yeah.
Like, It's like, bro, why?
He said, yeah, that's why these 2 seats are empty.
And they were like wildly overdressed. Like they were dressed like they were going on a date.
Because you dressed for date night and you went to bingo to play with a bunch of old people. And he's like telling her about his bingo strategy, and she's like, all right. Like, and
you like them, so you're gonna.
You appreciate when a woman pretends to be interested in the things you're interested in. But I've dated plenty of women that pretended to care about me talking about sports or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, yeah, for real? It's like, all right. I know you don't care about any of this, but I appreciate you faking it.
Yeah. So Vada realizes, like, wait, Dad's going to bingo and he's taking Shelly. So she like convinces Thomas J to go with her, and they sneak over to the church to see what's going on. And she notices that Harry and Shelly are getting close. They're giggling. They're having a good time. And so
about the smooch.
At some point, they're getting ready to kiss. And when she realizes this, she yells bingo from outside the church, like through the window. So everyone's like, wait, bingo? Who has bingo? Who said that? And then, of course, it gets broken up. They don't
starts a fight between 2 old men.
Someone outside yell bingo, you moron. Who you calling a moron?
Put a lid on it, Vern.
Put a lid on it? If you weren't 200 years old, I'd kick your wrinkled ass.
And then, she and Thomas J run away. And later on that night, she notices, and I actually wanted to, she notices that Thomas says goodnight to Shelly. And, like, at one point, he goes into her camper.
Harry, not Thomas. Her dad is Harry.
Oh, Harry. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Harry says goodnight to Shelly, and he's like, he goes into her camper for a bit. They talk. He kisses her goodnight, and then he leaves.
They even slow dance.
And they did. And I thought to myself, so she's just parking on the outside of the funeral. Like, she just parked on the street, basically, her camper. Mm-hmm. You can't just do that. Like,
why not?
Don't you need, like, a permit to, like...
I mean, who knows?
Like, I'm like, she just parked her camper there, and now I just live here?
Yeah, she lived on the block outside of their house.
I don't know that you could do that.
I don't know that
I feel like don't they have like camper like
parks, like trailer parks or like camper RV communities.
I can't just buy an RV and then just park it outside of your house and then just live there.
I mean, Jesse did it on Breaking Bad. So they had an RV and they just parked it in the driveway.
But it was a driveway. It's my property.
That's true.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know if you could do that.
I don't know that you can't.
But anyways, so Vada peeps this interaction, and she's getting tight, because she's like, yo, what's going on with my pops and Shelly? And then they're like, oh, Shelly. So they fast forward. They decide they're going to go to the fair, have a carnival, have a good time. And they're out there, and Vada is killing it. She's winning these games. And she wins a fish. And then at one point, Shelly is pointing at something in one of the carnival games, and Vada clocks her ring finger, and she's like, where'd you get that ring? And the fact that she even peeped it, I'm like, girl, like, at 11, I wouldn't even have noticed.
That. Absolutely not.
And she's like, where'd you get that ring? And then she's like, and then Harry's like, oh, we got to tell you something. It's like,
by the way.
And I'm like, here goes Parent Trap all over again.
Ooh, boy.
Because he's like, oh, yeah, like, we got engaged and, like, we're getting married at the end of the summer. And I'm thinking, like, this movie takes place over the summer.
Yeah, it's the beginning of summer break when the movie begins.
So you hired her a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Y'all went on a couple of dates, smooched and had a slow dance. And, like, now you're getting married in a couple weeks? What's up with these people? These fast-ass engagements?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I will say she's not a fan of this pairing, but no. she doesn't go full Parent Trap.
She tries to run away, bro. Well,
yeah,
that runaway scene was actually pretty funny.
That's true, but it wasn't like, yo, I got to get Shelly out of here by any means necessary.
No,
and I think it's also because it's more, number one, it's less of a comedy than Parent Trap, but also the dad's girlfriend in Parent Trap is definitely portrayed as like this gold digger who's significantly younger than him, who is there for the wrong reasons, and she's like the villain of the film.
Right.
Whereas this is different, and I think, although she's upset, it's more so like her problem than Shelly's problem.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest difference in the terms of like the way that they portray it. But she does give her a real run for her money in the bumper cars.
Oh my gosh.
She goes ham. She's
my gosh.
She's like targeting Shelly during bumper cars.
She really does. And I mean, I get it. Like, she's upset about it, but I
And then
just...
she stared her down. You saw the stare down?
Yes.
When she was like, yo, she turned around like, yo, Vada. And she just stared at her like, yo, what? What? What you gonna do about it? I'm gonna bump you again.
She really did.
I was like, oh.
Yes.
If she didn't know Vada wasn't happy,
she knows now.
she would have figured it out now.
Vada was not here for it because she's like, bro, like, what
that
do you...
stare down was gangster.
She's like, I don't like this at all. And what I really liked about when she was trying to run away with Thomas J, he was like, they rode around their bikes for a little bit, and then he's like, I'm tired of this. And he gets off his bike and he sits down. And she's like, come on, what's going on? We're trying to run away. And he's like, we've been running around in circles for the past, I don't know how many times.
We passed this same spot like twice.
He's like, I'm tired of running away. and then they climb this weeping willow tree. And he's like, all right, enough of this. I'm going home. And she's like, come on, you can't leave me. And he's like, it's dinner time.
Yeah, yo, the one thing about Thomas J that I really like, bro, when it's time for Thomas J to go home, it's time to go home.
It's time to go home.
And he's not going to get peer pressure by anybody.
I love it.
You see a lot of times with kids in movies and in real life, you know, their friends want to do whatever. Oh, you know, I want to hang out with my friends. I feel bad if I say no, da-da-da. Thomas J's not worried about none of that. He don't care if the popular girls make fun of him. He don't care if his best friend want to hang out. He like, yo, my mom said I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I got to go home.
I got to go home.
And I feel like it's one of those things where, like, a lot of times you see, I mean, the extreme example of this would be like the Fern character in Jawbreaker.
Oh, well.
Who's like this complete loser and would do anything to fit in. Thomas J is a, like, quote unquote outcast, but he's not concerned about fitting in at all. Like, he's just very confident in his own skin. He's thoughtful.
Yeah.
He's very observant. Even like the conversation that he has, I think, with, I don't remember if it was with her dad or with the uncle, where he's talking about like Shelly and like, he's talking about Vada and why she's always going to the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And he like breaks it down. And he's like in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Like he has like a whole analysis of like why she's scared of death and how she's dealing with her mother's passing and all this stuff. It's like, oh, like this kid's like very perceptive, very confident in himself, and does not give you the typical like nerdy loser kid.
Yeah, I did like that.
Like
about
he's
him.
just like, oh, y'all don't like me, that's cool, but you know, my mama gonna have dinner at 7, so like I'm going home.
Yeah, and you can see like when they show a couple of scenes with Thomas J at home, you see like, you know, he has a 2-parent household. The mom is very caring. They have home cooked meals, and it's like very different from what Vada has at her house, where like she could be out till God knows when, and then when she shows up after running away, quote unquote, she runs back in the house thinking like, she slams the door first, no response. Opens the door again, slams it again to be like, hey, I'm home, like come yell at me or something. No response. She wanders around the room. She finds her grandmother, who's like, you know, almost comatose, and her dad is passed out in front of the television. It's like, he's not even concerned where his daughter is.
No.
It's like, oh man, that's why she's kind of like, bro, this is stupid.
Until she runs away for real the second time, and then they are concerned.
Oh, after the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about grandma for a while, because I also feel like she doesn't do a lot in the movie, and I think she's probably there mostly for like comedic relief. But
she's always singing a song.
she is always she do be singing. Grandma do be singing. She love her show tunes. But there is a part, I don't remember if Harry says this or if it's Thomas J, but there's a part in the film where they basically say that, I think it was Harry. He was talking to Shelly about Vada, and he's like, yo, I'm sorry that I snapped on you when you brought up my daughter, but she was very close to her grandmother, and then ever since grandma started to lose it is when Vada starts, quote unquote, acting out. So I think that's also a part of who this character is. Like, yes, I lost my mom. Yes, I live in the funeral home. But I also had this maternal figure who's basically like, for all intents and purposes, I've also lost her.
Yeah.
She's still alive,
Yeah.
but she's completely senile. She doesn't really communicate. She sits in a room all day and just basically stares at the wall. And when she does temporarily snap out of it, she just like sings show tunes to nobody apparently, doesn't really know where she is. So it's it's like a living loss.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so many layers here
Yeah.
to the loss that she experiences. And I just
She's not even in middle school yet.
I know.
She's been surrounded by loss her entire life.
So like, this happens in the movie. Eventually, Thomas J, ends up meeting his demise. He gets, so they say earlier on in the film that like he's allergic to everything is like what they keep saying. And the first thing they mention is chocolate as being one. And then later on we figure out that, I believe the bee stings became too much for him. He ends up being near like this huge beehive because they were there earlier a few days before they knocked it down. And while they were out there, Vada had lost her mood ring, and her mood ring was like the one piece of jewelry she always wore. And Thomas J went back to find the ring for her. And while he was there, his glasses falls off. Like the bees are swarming him. He can't get away from them, and it was just too much for him, and he passed.
Well, he goes back. Remember, this is after they're hanging out and they have their first kiss.
Oh, the kiss!
So that's also I think
forgot about that kiss.
I think that's a big part of it because she sees earlier in the film she sees her father and Shelley kiss, and she's like, "What are they doing? This is mad gross." And also, this hoe needs to get off my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And while she's supposed to be watching her grandmother, she's peeping Tom on her dad.
Yeah.
Her grandmother gets up and walks into a funeral viewing and starts singing show tunes.
Oh man.
So then her dad spazzes on her because he's like, "Yo, you're supposed to be watching grandma and you just let her
And she's like,
stroll into this
Right.
parlor. Like, come on."
So she gets mad.
She gets tight and runs away with Thomas J. And then
Yeah.
that's when she's like, "Yo, have you ever kissed anybody? Like, why do people like doing this? Like, what if we just try it out?"
So that
So that's the
scene,
whole thing. Yeah.
That kiss scene, man, let me tell you, it was hilarious to watch because like they do it and then they're both like, she's like, "Wait, it's too quiet. We should say something." So then Thomas J gets up and he's like,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nah, that's actually amazing. And she joins him.
yeah, they both
Like-
get up and they put their, like they do the whole
Yeah.
Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic for which this kiss stands. Indivisible.
And then I started thinking like, bro, do you remember elementary school? And every morning we would get up and salute the flag. Like,
You know how
we
crazy
would-
that sounds now? Like, now that you're, like, older and schools don't do this anymore, thankfully. But, like, that's insane.
It's so weird.
It's
It's
very,
this
like...
programming that's happening there.
Yeah, it's very, like, 1933 Germany.
Right.
Like,
I pledge allegiance to the flag. And your hand's over your heart.
it's indoctrination.
And they would tell you, like, put your hand over your heart.
Look at the flag
Yeah.
and say these words every morning.
Every morning before class starts. It's crazy. So, yeah.
Liberty and justice for all, but not you. You have no liberty. You will
Justice-
do as you're told.
Justice for some.
Yeah.
For some.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they do that. It's very funny. And so apparently that kiss, well, it says that it was Macaulay Culkin's first on-screen kiss, and it was Chlumsky's first kiss, just in general. They were both 10 at the time.
First kiss is, because I'm sure they did more than one take.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe they didn't.
No, they did. The kids actually were complaining that it took like 15 takes. And
I
that
gotta do this again.
And they were over it. Like, yeah.
Oh, it's so gross.
Chlumsky said, like, "Oh my gosh, we just wanted to get it over with." And then Culkin kept being like, "Yuck."
That's so
Because
funny.
think about, like, you got the lighting right and the right camera angle, and they want you to, like, and the kids are just like, ugh. And part of me was kind of just like, I don't know, like, I get that it's a film and blah, blah,
It's a
blah.
little
But it's
lip peck.
like,
They're
yeah.
not, like, making out.
But it's just kind of like, they're both like, "Oh, this is so gross. I got to kiss this boy or girl." And they did it, and it was
I kissed the boy right there.
So yeah, that scene was just really funny to me. So all that happens, and now he's like, I believe he even says to her, he says, like, "Vada, like, if you don't get married to Mr. Bixler, will you think of me?" That's what he says to her.
Yeah, she's like, "I'll think about it."
And then he's like, yeah, and he smiles.
And
He's
that was
like,
their last
that was
conversation.
the last thing that she
So
said
he's
to
like,
her.
"Yo, she might marry me. I'm gonna go get that ring back." So I think that's actually why he goes back, is because they had the first kiss, and he admitted that he had a crush on her. So then he's like, "Yo, I might actually be able to pull this off, and this would be
If I bring her the ring."
It'd be a beautiful gesture."
Yeah, man.
is what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Aww.
him trying to be a nice friend ends up killing him.
Yeah, that was rough. So like the scene where like she finds out is, it's very sad that he's dead and all that. But for me, the saddest part is that at the actual funeral.
It's tough.
Like when everyone's there, at first she doesn't want to go downstairs. Eventually she does. She walks.
She's listening from upstairs. She's listening to the funeral.
The pastor's saying all the things about, why God takes and
there's a child and let the children come to me and
the Bible verses and all that. So she wanders downstairs and she starts walking in and she sees him, in the coffin, and she runs over and she's like, "Where's his glasses? He can't see without his glasses." And she starts crying. It's like, bruh, that scene was just so hard to watch. Because, like, this is, like, her one friend in the world. And she's just crying her eyes out, man. And I was reading
also, where are his glasses? Like, come on, bro. I should have at least... You're supposed to look in the casket like how you look in real life. Like, put the glasses on the little boy.
Yeah, they could have.
Got bee stings all over his face.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So I was reading up on that scene because it was like, I was watching it and I'm like, bro, this girl is doing a really impressive job.
She killed.
Of doing this crying. And she said that in order to cry on cue, she would basically prepare an hour before she had to get into that mindset. And what she did was she would picture that it was her mom in the coffin. And that's how she was able to cry.
Sheesh.
I was like, whoa.
That's tough.
Yeah. But I mean, think about it. That would work. Like, that would work.
No, I'm saying, like, that's tough in terms of, like, for you to even have that sophisticated of a process as an actor
11.
at that age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
or 10, sorry. Yeah.
Is really impressive.
10. Yeah.
Because I'm sure she didn't go to, like, I mean, maybe she did go to acting classes, but certainly nothing as sophisticated as what an adult would have gone to.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. I was like, oh, she out here. People out here acting.
She was doing the
acting.
So there's also a part in the movie where she talks about heaven and her mom being in heaven and how she envisions it. And she says, like, you're in heaven, everybody gets a white horse. The horses have wings. Everyone there's friends. And if you play sports, you can play, but there's no teams so that nobody gets picked last.
Yeah.
And she has like this ideal in her head. So I'm wondering if you were to envision your
heaven,
like your heaven, your ideal setting. Like, how would you describe it? Would it be everyone getting a horse?
No, I don't want a horse. And then when you ride horses, man, you get that weird like walk afterwards. Like you feel so like your legs are all spread apart, your hips are hurting, like you
crotch
can't
spread.
Yeah. I mean, it's riding horses is fun, but like I don't want to do this every day. I also don't want to maintain and take care of a horse. Seems like a lot of work. Like are there angels in heaven that are tending to the
Somebody
horse?
else is taking care of the horse. I don't think you have to like clean the horse poop or anything like that.
I'll tell you, like, for me, I want to be able to read without someone trying to talk to me. Because, bro.
Wow, this is a coded shot at your husband, it sounds like. Alert.
No, I love him to death. But sometimes it's like, bro, like, you see that I'm reading this book. And, like, that's the moment you want to come over and talk to me about God knows what. And it's like, but I'm in the middle of this chapter. Like,
to be fair, you are always reading a book.
Yeah, that's my idea of heaven. Like, I want to sit and I want to read in peace. That's what I want to do.
Reading in peace.
And then, like, when I'm ready, I feel like, okay, especially if you're, like, an introvert, I think you should, like, you can be social, but, like, only when you want to.
Oh, yeah. That's my heaven right there.
Right? So it's like, oh, I'm in the mood right now to get these jokes off or to just hang out with my friends. And maybe for you, that's a 45-minute period. And you go and you do it for 5 minutes. And then it's like, time's up. And then you're able to go back and whether that's watch basketball for you or soccer or...
Yo, basketball in heaven is probably lit, too.
Everybody's jumping over clouds.
Everybody's nice. You're going to see some competitive hoops.
The score is like 1,200 to everybody's scoring.
But they also got great defense. So,
okay.
you know, that'll be some good games. I also think in terms of like my social life, it would be like perfectly curated. Like
Yeah.
you would be able to be like, it's like, oh, I want to hang out with these personality
people.
types in this type of space.
Yeah.
And that's heaven. It's like you never having to worry about like, that annoying boyfriend of your friend that you kind of have to hang out with, but you don't really like them, but they're there anyway. Or that friend that we were kind of close 5 years ago, but we're not really close anymore, but I can't really not invite them if I'm inviting all the other friends I'm still close with. So it's like you can kind of...
Heaven can't have any of those social issues.
Oh, no, none at all.
You can't have that.
We're getting rid of them all.
Yeah.
Those belong in hell.
Oh, wait, so hell? Listen.
That was not the question. The question was not describe your hell.
Wait,
for the record.
I gotta put it out there. I gotta put it out there. So this is what happened. Like, I'm a Twilight Zone fan. I love the show. And I was talking to my husband and I'm like, yo, so imagine there's like an episode of Twilight Zone where basically like you have this person, it's Friday, they finish their work day, is how the episode starts. Like they say bye to their people, like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. And the guy's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna watch a game, have a beer. Right. And then tomorrow I'm just gonna like do whatever I want.
Right.
So he has his Friday night, he has his beer, he watches the game, he falls asleep. In the morning he wakes up to his like 5 a.m. alarm. And he's like, that's weird. Like, what day is it? It's Monday. It's like there's no weekend. So it goes from Monday. It goes from Monday to Friday every day. There's no weekend and there's no telework.
No.
That's hell.
That is hell.
Right?
You have entered the Twilight Zone, brother, because you got no weekends. And you got to go into the office, not even 5 days a week, every day.
Every day of your life.
Nah, that's not it. Do I get to retire?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you have to see how the episode plays out.
But yeah, that's hell for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I had to get that out.
That's even darker than this movie. And I saw an 11-year-old boy die.
Not darker than the movie.
Somehow your version of hell is worse. So a few like little things, I guess, like just to kind of tie up how the movie ends. After Thomas J dies, she kind of ends up going back to that poetry class that she had kind of stopped going to for a while. And she is able to present this poem about a weeping willow, and she uses it as imagery and what's the word I'm looking for? Personification to kind of talk about like how she's dealt with grief.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful poem. And everybody's impressed. And it's kind of like supposed to show like how she's come to terms with the fact that Mr. Bixler is a grown-ass man that she's not going to marry. She comes to terms with the death of her best friend and her mother.
Oh, gosh.
But then even at the end, we see her leaving the school or the library where the classes were taking place. And she's now hanging out with one of the girls that was in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Which also, I think, shows that, like, I mean, I'll get to this later when we get to the theme, but also, like, her being able to get past Thomas's death and, like, not just wallowing in it, and like, finding more people to have friends with and stuff like that.
So I don't know if you caught this, but so that girl, her name was Judy, that girl who became her friend.
She was hesitant.
Well, she was the one who invited her to the beach in the beginning. Remember, she invited them. Other girls were like, "Oh my gosh, not with Thomas
why
J."
did you invite them?
Right,
she felt bad.
Right, but she was the one that invited them. So it's like she was always the nice one out of the girls. So it made sense that they made the connection later on.
Yes.
It wasn't like just some random bully that she became friends with. So I liked that.
There's also a bit of foreshadowing early in the film because there's a part where maybe in the first 20 or 30 minutes, there's a delivery to the funeral parlor for some caskets.
Yeah.
And she sees a casket. She's like, that's small. Who's that for? Is that for a child? And he's like, no.
It's for a short person.
He's like, it's just some people are very small.
Yeah.
And then by the end, we find out that, yes, young people also die. And her best friend ends up in one of those small caskets that she asks about in the beginning of the movie.
That's good. I didn't notice that. Yeah, it came full circle there. Any quotes that you liked?
There were a few. One that comes to mind is when they're in the poetry class and one of the hippies starts giving a very sexually charged poem, and she mentions flesh all a mesh.
Yes.
Which made me laugh out loud. I think my favorite quotes were when Vada got her period for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And as the Shelley is explaining it to her, she says, "It's not fair. Nothing happens to boys."
Thank you.
And then Thomas J comes over to hang out, and she pushes him, and she says, "Get out of here, and don't come back for 5 to 7 days."
He was probably like, what the heck is going on? That was perfect.
That was great. That was
perfect.
probably the best line for me.
So that was in my top 3. So I had that line. I also had, going back to the creative writing course, when they're all like sitting in a circle holding hands, and the hippie couple is basically telling people they need to like try to feel what the person next to you is feeling just by holding their hand.
Feel my aura, man.
Yeah, so the guy's like, Vada, come on, feel my aura. And she's like, I don't think that I'm allowed to. That was funny. And then for me, it was when Shelley says the prayer. They're doing a barbecue for July 4th.
Yeah.
And she says, "Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Yay, God." And they're like, "Amen."
Yay, God.
I was like, what in the world? But that was her prayer.
There we go. Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. We didn't mention this. I kind of just want to briefly talk about the fact that her ex-husband shows up.
Yes.
Shelley's ex-husband shows up and basically says that she stole the camper because per the settlement agreement, the camper was supposed to be his. And he tries to like grab up on her, and then Harry comes to her rescue and like punches the guy in the gut. Mm-hmm. And somehow the guy ends up staying for dinner because they don't leave until later that night.
No, yeah, that was bizarre. It's like, yo, I came to acquire my home. I get punched in the stomach, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm already here. I might as well get some
hamburgers.
Yeah, some potato salad. Like, Shelley's famous is potato salad. Like, let's go. I might as well get some food before I get back on the road.
And then at the end, Harry's like, well, is that camper actually yours? I don't think she even answered him. I'm like, so she just stole the camper?
She says, kind of.
So I was like, you stole that camper.
Yeah.
Like, clearly.
She did.
Oh, okay. But there's no consequences for that, so.
No, because Harry defended her.
Oh,
and that was the whole thing. It's like, you defend her first, and then you find out if she was actually right or wrong afterwards.
Oh, what a good man.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, themes.
So I was kind of hinting at this when I talked about Vada kind of finding a new friend towards the end of the movie. But it's this concept of not letting the fear of what you'll lose stop you from appreciating what it is that you have. I think specifically at the beginning of the movie, she's so caught up in the concept of death. And I wouldn't even call it necessarily a fear. Maybe it was a fear, but she seemed almost at terms with it. Of just like, oh yeah, I'm going to die soon, and I have this disease, and I'm coming down with this illness. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to die, I'm so scared. It was just kind of like she had created this narrative in her head that was just what was going to happen. And she only really had the one friend. So I think what she learns, and I think what the point of this movie is supposed to be, is that, like, yes, you lose things. Sometimes at a young age, you'll lose people very close to you. And not only for Shelley, right? I mean, not only for Vada, but also for her dad. Like, he's able to move on from the loss of his wife and, like, find a new partner.
Yeah.
Thomas J's parents have to deal with loss. They lose their son and trying to figure out, like, what comes next? They still have a relationship with Vada. So now it's kind of like they're able to still have some relationship with a child, even though it's not their son. So, I think that's what this movie's real point is like, bad things happen and you lose things or you lose people, but it shouldn't stop you from continuing to, like, enjoy your life.
Yeah. I mean, what I got is pretty close to what you were saying. I'm not going to, belabor the point. But your points on grief, I think, were very important. And then, of course, overall, this is a coming-of-age story, right? Because you're seeing her develop as a young girl. You're seeing her have her first crush and being heartbroken, which is a part of growing up.
First kiss.
All
First
of
period.
the firsts are happening to her, and she's learning how to deal with it. And she's dealing with a lot more than most kids do at that age. A lot more. And she's coming to terms with it and learning how to grow up in this crazy world. I really enjoyed it. I will say one thing that's not a theme, but I just wanted to bring up before we end this. That was very 90s, was the whole like Vada, Vada, Bo Beta, Banana, Fana, Fo Beta, Me, My, Mo, Beta, Veda. I was like, oh, I used to love doing that when you were kids. You would do everybody's name.
You used to love the Banana Fana?
Yeah, bruh. Yes. You did Banana Fana?
I bananaed. Yeah, it was fun,
man.
It was a good time.
All right, so just a couple of quick facts here. We talked about a lot of them during the podcast so far, but as far as the kiss is concerned, they actually won an MTV Movie Award for Best Kiss.
That's funny.
Because it was such like, a strange, not a strange thing, but it wasn't a lot of times you see two kids kissing on a big
It wasn't
screen
Wow Things
like that. Well, God no. At some point, Chlumsky actually retired from acting for a few years to go to college because she had a lot of trouble dealing with the increased scrutiny being in the public eye after this movie came out. Because like people would see her on the street and they would like make micro references and blah blah, and she was like, it was so annoying. Vada! Yeah,
like
it was relax. So annoying. Like, oh, where's his glasses? Ah. Like it's like, all right, this is too much.
And they made a sequel.
Yeah, so she was in the sequel,
which I haven't seen, but
I haven't either.
I wonder like where it goes from here. Or if it's even probably is about something completely
Well, it's
different.
her and another boy on the cover. So maybe it's a love interest this time.
Yeah, maybe. She's in middle school and starting to get crushes.
Yeah.
That aren't teachers.
So apparently there were some child psychologists who were worried about how Thomas's death would impact children after the success of Home Alone.
Oh, wow.
They were worried that they'd be like, oh, Kevin McAllister died.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Like in the movie. And
what's this rating?
This is PG. So it actually was originally PG-13, but it got changed to PG after the studio like appealed it.
Because this is not like really a kid's movie.
Right.
It doesn't have any like
there's no bad words or anything like that.
It's
a lot. It's heavy.
Yeah, the theme is not like, oh, kids, let's sit down and watch My Girl. Like, nah, dog.
Right. This is not something I want to watch when I'm
throw on Lion
11.
King. I mean, there's Lost in that too.
Yikes. Yeah, but there's singing and there's fun. Well, there's singing and there's fun here too. If you want the grandma singing and
yeah, I think Lion King's probably a little bit more child appropriate.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's a PG rating. And then they thought about Chevy Chase for the role of Harry. But they ended up going with Dan Aykroyd because they believed that Chevy Chase had a lack of experience in dramatic roles. And Aykroyd had done Driving Miss Daisy, like you said. So they were like,
yeah,
he can do that range, and we're not sure Chevy Chase can. So
he was very good in this movie, I thought.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. That is all I have as far as facts. So now we're ready for our rewind ratings.
Yeah, sometimes I try to think of these in advance, but
it's so hard to.
Oftentimes do not. Unless I know, like if it's something I really enjoyed or really did not enjoy, it's easier. I do like this movie. It's themed around death, so it's kind of a heavy theme. I always like watching child actors though, so that's always fun. I think they both do a really good job. Also seeing like, I'm sure we've talked about Home Alone before and how we watched it all the time. So it is also interesting seeing Macaulay Culkin in a very different role.
For sure.
And he's still just like very charming and a cute little kid. So I think those are like the pieces that make it a little bit more rewatchable, despite the fact that it is basically a movie about loss and death. And yeah, I don't know. I'm like stuck here. I'm gonna say 3.75.
Oh, okay. So a little bit under a 4, but
just a shade under a 4. I was considering as a 4, but it's also just like it's not a movie that's like a ton of fun to watch.
That's the thing.
And also, it's probably a smidge too long. So that shaved off a quarter point for me. So I'm gonna go 3.75.
I feel like our reasoning is exactly the same, but our ratings are different.
Okay.
Because I'm giving it a 3.
Okay.
And for the reasons you said, basically. Like, I think it's a good story, but it's kind of a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's not like it's like fun death. You know what I mean? Like
Fun death.
Well, you know, like it's not like a slasher or like something where it's like,
Right.
oh, I can laugh at this and like, look at how he died. Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like straight loss of family, of friends, of, you know, essentially your first love. Like, there's just so much going on, so much heartbreak in it. And it is pretty long. So for me, I'm probably not going to watch this again for a few years.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So for the rewatch value, I'm giving it a 3.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, yeah. Now I'm like waffling on my pick.
No.
Now you're making me feel like maybe I rated it a little too high.
Stick with your gut.
What's done is done.
Stick with your gut.
I cannot go back.
All right, guys. Make sure you keep sending your requests to us. You can send us an email at rewindrewatch1990s@gmail.com. Also, you can hit us up on Instagram or on Twitter or on Threads at RR90spod. We're also on Facebook and TikTok at the Rewind Rewatch Podcast. So keep those requests coming. The list is getting ever so long, but we're making
a little progress. We're shaving it down some. You know, we're getting there.
We love to see it. So keep them coming. The comments on IG, I love to see them. Answers to our stories, just keep them coming, guys. We like to interact with you guys, and also if you have any suggestions for, you know, different things you want us to discuss on the show, let us know.
Yes, indeed.
All right. I think that's it for us. We shall see you next time. Later.
Later.